This is episode 221 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Mark Helm. Mark is a veteran in the field of self-storage and real estate. He's the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, co-owner and principal broker of Nexus Commercial Advisors, the developer of the self-storage financial analysis software, the Storage World Analyzer, which I'm definitely interested in. He's also the owner of several storage facilities, a self-storage developer, investor, speaker, consultant, and trainer, and the co-owner and partner of Resolve. Mark, welcome to the show.
Good to be here. I need to come on more often to hear that intro.
Yeah, some people say, oh, I should call them every morning and just give them that intro, but you're a veteran in the field, so I really appreciate having this conversation with you. When was the first time you were interested in real estate? Because I know it goes back a long time like me.
May 1, 1985, I got my real estate license.
When you got your real estate license, was your plan to be a commercial agent at that time, or were you just trying to figure out what to do in real estate?
No, it was actually to earn extra money. I was a paint salesman of all things. And when I came out of college, inflation was running at 17%. Everybody thinks we have high inflation now.
I know, right?
The interest rates were running 15 to 17%. And I can remember, I got a real estate license just to supplement my income. And real quickly, like within a couple months, my broker at the time said we had the Homes magazine. I don't know if you ever remember that.
Yes, but, I do.
My broker said, well, if you get 9 listings and can fill a page up, I'll put your picture on that page. And I said, really? You do that for me?
Yeah.
And I went out and listed 9 for sale by owners. I had no idea that was hard work. I just did it because working with housewives scared me to death.
Yeah.
But within a month, I got that page in the Homes magazine with my picture in it. And I remember the Friday, May 1, I walked into my paint sales job, and my boss threw that magazine down on the counter and said, you're either in the real estate business or you're in the paint business. Now, keep in mind, I have not closed the deal in real estate.
Right.
So I said, I think I'm in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Took off from there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny though, because you had to make that choice before you got the first commission check. Most of us who, as agents, the first commission check, you're like, wow, this has scale, because those commission checks can be big even back then, because it all happens at once instead of a steady inflow of paint jobs, like you said.
Yeah. Something to be said about being naive sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you must have had experience though, talking and being able to, because listings are very hard to get, especially when you're new. But I suppose that working the paint jobs and understanding what people need helped you when you first started to try to get into it, and now still helps you as a real estate investor over the years.
Yeah. Sales, I was, regardless of what you do, what business you're in, sales plays some role in it. I mean, even as a teenager, I remember I sold vacuum cleaners door to door. So the idea of cold calling didn't scare me. But the truth is, I just was kind of naive and didn't know a lot. And I'm not, one of my super strengths is sometimes I'm willing to take action regardless of whether I know the path or the outcome. Now that can hurt sometimes, but that's kind of like a trait of mine.
I think from talking to so many people who got into self-storage, that light bulb moment is really, it comes from a lot of people who have played around in multifamily, but that wasn't your background. But it's kind of that no tenant, no toilet situation. What can really go wrong here? And this is back in the 90s when you weren't thinking of the kind of upgrade of conversion that you can do now electronically and getting out, the operator. So it must have been interesting then to even see the scale of it, just because there was so much coming in and out. And most people, there's no wear and tear on it. People barely ever even go there, especially back then.
Yeah, it was a different business. Of course, it had its challenges back then too, just like we have our challenges today, different challenges. Back then there was no SBA lending.
Right.
I can remember sitting in banks that would say, we would never loan on self-storage. It's a specialty built product. You lose all your tenants, you can't do anything with the building. That same bank loaned me millions of dollars down the road.
Yeah, right.
But it had its own challenges back then. But being in the management business I was in, I mean, we weren't setting shoots up and tenant didn't pay. We auctioned their stuff. There's no
Yeah,
evictions. It was, you technically don't have a landlord tenant relationship. You're a
right.
warehouseman, and what people store in your storage unit is chattel, and you have lien rights on their chattel. So it's like a 20 cent on the dollar insurance policy on your income stream.
I found that the magic in self-storage is in those price increases because the aggravation to a self-storage renter to move their stuff is so high that there's very little incentive to go do it for anything under a 10% increase. I mean, at 10%, you might start to think, you know what, maybe I'll move this stuff. But then when you calculate it, and it's like it's going to be $650 to move all your stuff to another storage unit that's going to do the same thing, that they're just gonna stay unless they're getting rid of the unit. That's really I think, in the magic of the business. Am I right about
Exactly.
that?
Yes, they
Yeah.
tend to be very sticky. Every now and then, so we would have now we didn't always have really huge jumps. Dynamic pricing is now the financial model that's in
Yeah.
most markets that basically adjusts the rents like an airplane ticket, up and down based
Yeah.
on supply and demand. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I've used variations of it. It always felt like dynamic pricing for subscription models kind of dicey. And
Yeah.
in essence, self storage is a subscription model, a monthly payment that can stop at any time. But so our marketing and our positioning is, although we do offer some entry prices and I do offer specials, especially when I'm in lease up, but I very often will compete directly against the REITs who are really the masters of dynamic pricing. And I will tell them, we'll run ads, video ads saying, tired of your price increases? Come to our facility. I'll lock your rate in for
Yeah.
whatever month or so. Um, but yeah, but raising rents, you can't just do it willy nilly, but raising rents um, is like part of the business. And if you run your storage like a business, not just like a mom and pop operator, there's a lot of value in that. And the real art that I talked about in the book, the real art is knowing you might not do it every year, but having your income increase be higher than your operation increase.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I've discovered is most owners are clueless about what their operating increase expense was, how it went up in percentage wise compared to their rent. But that compounds over time. And that's what creates the wealth in self storage, in my opinion.
Do you prefer doing full ground up on a blank slate to the additions because then you're kind of have to add to somebody else's building, or does it really just a numbers game for you?
Um, I've done ground up development, and I'll tell you where I've made the most money is in conversions.
Mm,
No, I don't think for us, I like having a mixture of all. So
yeah.
we've got but expansions where you buy existing self storage, add more. Conversions where you buy empty buildings and convert
Yeah.
it to self storage and ground up. I've done all, but if I had a preference, it would be conversions and expansions. And I like it because it might sound crazy, but even in conversions, I can get existing cash flow. So if I've got in every conversion I've done except one, I think, we will buy an empty building and we'll phase into self storage and I'll lease the other part out. It could be indoor parking, it could be
Oh,
warehouse, it could
yeah.
be, I've leased it to sign companies, but I will get rent on the part I'm not developing as self storage while I lease up my self storage. And when you buy expansions, you've got cash flow albeit I might not be getting the return I want at the price I paid for the existing 25,000 feet or whatever it is. But by the time I do my expansion, add it, lease it up, I've got a good return.